where the dark things hide. A cipher's
Welcome
whisper
everyone
cuts the tide.
to another video.
A phantom.
Welcome everyone to another video. This is not clickbait. This is not whatnot. I'm just extremely disappointed about so many things. And usually this should have been our we worked hard. I was so happy with how T2, our increasingly amazing news distribution, progressed. How many things I fixed and got working that never worked, SGIO2 and other things in details and Itanium. But enough is enough. Basically, I spent here day after day fixing other people's regression, and it is unsustainable. And it's on a rate now that is impossible to endure. It is. I'm completely burned out about the things. So the major thing, the major thing here is, I thought we can release the next T2 release, and we had already warning signs in October that our new Spark users reported Mesa 3D graphic doesn't work with on Spark anymore. And initially I thought it's just some general Mesa thing, whatever. We reverted that. We even have that here in the history. We have some convoluted history now. But it's not only Mesa, right? This is just the extreme example. Here is like update on revert and revert some previous updates and like back and forth and stuff. And then I tested this on x86 and it worked. I was like, yeah, whatever, maybe some build fluke, whatever. Because they also have here some new drill things that you don't find something in the net, some lib drill of unified shared whatnot legacy loader interface thing. This is also really strange. This is the kind of things that are strange in general. I can also show you this probably on Itanium. It doesn't really matter. That now previously all the shared objects were drivers, and now it's like everything is lib drill, whatever. So initially I thought like maybe it's this nonsense here, and it's part of this nonsense wise work. So turns out we, in the meantime, with our release testing for our Linux distribution, that is T2 that's supporting all architectures. Turns out all big endian is broken. So also Apple, G5, and that is everything that does work, everything that did work, right? I sit here day and night, I pull 80 hours a week and every weekend, and that's the reality, right? If you have a job, which I already neglect, so I neglect my job, earn significantly less money by doing unpaid open source stuff at nights, at weekends, all summer and winter, and at the end of the day, other people just break stuff faster than I can fix it, right? We have seen this previously. glibc, Xiang developers broke IDT WinShip. That is now infinite looping on glibc, previous video. Not, yes, some rare CPU, but all of Spark was broken, right? People just touch some Spark stuff. All of glibc, like basically Spark was too unstable to use. Various system calls completely not continuing. Right? You couldn't, with a system 5 system, you couldn't even shut down your system and things, or various other things. You could not even press Control-Z without stuff failing and interrupting. Yeah, and each of these things, I mean, not even to mention fiber channel on UltraSpark and PS3, upstream PS3 is broken in 2 different ways. After I fixed other things, it's broken again. And basically, and each of the things, because I never know what is it, right? I bisect, I need to analyze, I need to bisect with Git here, like going through like, okay, eventually I test with various things, strays or GDB or other things. Okay, it's in this component, Linux kernel or glibc or Mesa. All this takes time, right? For every breakage, I spend hours, sometimes 8 hours, sometimes a whole weekend fixing this. And so this is here. And this is also this pointless stuff. Sure, I understand upstream. So all those various developers, it's all of them. And after my last video with this Spark regression, I did not even meant to point him out personally. I just said, can you believe how broken this is? Nobody fixed this in years. And then I did not even send it upstream and got even an angry email. How dare I point this out on YouTube? It's like it's like it wasn't you personally, just like, what should I do? All of this stuff is broken. Not even to mention GC, like basically everything. Like And that is the thing, it's not even one small, if it would be one small thing, if it would be one regression here, but it doesn't scale. I'm burned out, as many others, and like so many open source has a problem finding new developers. Like you, I work here 50,000 hours for 25 years. Fixing shit, nobody thanks you that. People always, if you point somewhere out on OS News or Forenix, shameless self-promotion and whatnot, it's like, yes, it's like, yeah, you, but other people also point out their Debian and Arch Linux, right? And so what this does, so the problem is not even GLX info, like, so what doesn't work? Like no 3D on all big endian Mesa is broken right now. Since we bisected this last night on Twitch, like if you're new to this YouTube channel and stuff, we have done, how much have I done? Just go to Twitch and share, like, and subscribe. Basically daily, right? Like people already think I'm crazy of putting so much, which obviously I'm dumb and naive and I should stop it. I'm burnt out. You can't even make money with this stuff. I lost hundreds, thousands of profits. Over the years. I said it before. Like basically, I lost, like, why I'm not as rich as Elon Musk, because I lost $1 million over 25 years easily, maybe more. Imagine if I would have taken the job at Apple for 250,000 a year. Sitting here fixing day after day, fixing others' piece of junk. And this is not a personal thing. Like if you see your names, don't write me an email. I'm sorry if your name is here, but you did the stuff and it broke. I'm not. All those developers are amazing. I love them all. Please don't send me another angry email and don't swat me again. And I fix here all this. I keep my precious SGIO2 and everything working. And to thank me, not only nobody thanks me, they also sent the police after me. Thank you very much. I hope this is not running audio. So each freaking day here on Twitch, right? And at the end of the day, I'm done now. Like I no longer do this. I have enough. I can't, I'm at the end, I give up, and this is not, I'm not a loser, I'm not a whiner, I'm just realistic. After 25 years, nobody wants it, nobody appreciates this, and the industry, whatever. And the next thing is, the next deletion, and also like they actively delete stuff, right? 386, yes, you don't need to need 386 support, the minimum is 46 now. Just need to investigate my YouTube pop-ups there. Do we have, hey, 0 drop frames. And so 386, I would have personally loved to have it in there for historic reasons, for that is a minimum, just like, yeah, clean up some code is like, okay, well, mine 486 is not even that different, it's like, whatever. They deleted Spark version 7, 32-bit Spark. Yes, it doesn't have hardware, multiply and divide. It's the first Spark stations, which I have even 3. I got one new donated. I had 1.5. I had one Spark Station 2 and a loose board, which I got donated. When I got it donated 20 years ago, it was already e-waste. And now I got another, which is amazing because it had an upgrade CPU. But none of them, yes, they are like 40 megahertz and 80 megahertz upgraded one. They are not supported in Linux. Yes, are they the most usable? No, but would have been nice. They have deleted Itanium, although it was fully, like, basically stuff that is broken. Like there is so much stuff that is completely broken, like P3 and other stuff. It's in the kernel, but Itanium, the one thing that was actually working, they delete. The next deletion is already scheduled, right? There, my IBM, I believe 43P or P, whatever, or B50, previous video, I even made YouTube videos about this. They want to delete it, right? I got this B50 at Rock Linux from Claire over 20 years ago, 400 megahertz or 360 megahertz. So it's actually still usable. Surprisingly snappy, you could still run it as a server, but or for vintage and retro. Now they want to delete this, right? Here, scheduled, as you possibly could have read on OS News, Chirp, the Common Hardware Reference Platform, was a standard developer, IBM, Apple. This only supports a handful of machines, all 32-bit, for example, IBM B50, which I have, B-Plan, whatnot, some other stuff, and not even mention also others like the other early, like the B50 workstation, like the 43P or whatever, and certainly others. All of those mentioned above are nearly 20 years old. So what? They are 20 years old and they function, they're not even that slow. They're not as slow as a 40 megahertz 3D6 or 40 megahertz Spark Station. These are perfectly fine machines, and I even got a new one recently. I even paid for that because I liked it. Mostly I wanted, to be fair, I wanted mostly the CRT because I was looking for an affordable CRT. And I made a quick video already. So here's a B50, I got this, so I even test this, right? I even recently tested this with Grub 2. So I recently got this, I made a video a year already ago. Can't believe the 2 runs on this gorgeous IBM R6000. I'm actually testing this. I actively got a new machine because I loved the black client machine here and I wanted the CRT. I have the matching CRT. So I mostly got it for the CRT. So it's basically the same as the B50 server there. I have 2 machines that I also wanted to do more Quake and whatnot. These machines are fully supported. Even 3D acceleration would work if it would not have been deleted at Mesa 10 years ago. Like until it was deleted, because it has a Matrox card, it had fully working, like this machine was fully supported, and to this day it is fully supported. And I tried it 2 months ago, I tested it booting with Grub 2. And it's an amazing machine. Like other people, how is it people collect Apple Macintoshes and stuff, all the Apple channels, all the 8-bit channels, right? All the Commodore, like people still play, people rediscover Commodore, and I keep this here working, and there's like, probably nobody is using this anymore. Where do we have here? It seems no active users. Maybe you should share, like, and subscribe, and watch my YouTube channel. Like, I literally have 2, and don't tell me all the vintage lazy game LGR review people and Adrian's Digital Basement and all the other amazing people. Like, don't tell me all the Vintage Computer Festival meeting people. None of them has one of those when I already have 2. And the crazy thing is, this is not even much code. I mean, sure, there is some more code and stuff, but I did not ask you to maintain it. Like, just don't touch it. Like, if you rename some APIs, then SED over this stuff, right? Who will project, find and replace. But this, what other people, and this is also the attitude. And I can no longer, like, this attitude makes me sick. It makes me depressive. Maybe it was, obviously I'm dumb and naive that I even did this for 20 years. Which sane person would do this? Yes, the machines are not the most usable, but they are nice to have, like a Amiga 500, Commodore C64, show off of YouTube. And many of them, even the SGI-O2, and these were high-end machines, the SGI-O2, $10,000 or more, and 10,000 up, all this, and SGI Octane, and also with the deleted 3D code. People reverse engineered and spent their years when they were young and naive in university 25 years ago. All those people made open source and Linux and BSD and Mesa and XOR great, and now come some young newcomer people, and just, although he is not young, it's more about, he's probably as old as I guess, plus minus, or older. But other people with Mesa and stuff, they come and it's like, yeah, old crap, delete. Like, how dare you? This was the argument, the advertising argument 25 years ago. At open source, we said Windows already dropped support for things 20 years ago, right? With Windows 95 or Windows 2000 and Windows, each year Windows or just Mac OS, right? Each version, 5-year-old Mac not supported, or sometimes even 3 years, 32-bit EFI, how dare is it not supported? How dare we sold you this crap with 32-bit? Remember the first Core Duo? The first Core and the first even Mac Pro with dual Xeon that I even have there. Apple, 32-bit EFI we can't support anymore. Decades ago, the mantra, the working theme of Linux and open source was, we make stuff work again. We make it work. We reverse engineer it. We make it faster. We make it greater. And these days it's only delete, delete, delete. 20-old years up. I and my neighbor don't use it. My friend and I don't use it. My wife and I don't use it. Delete, 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 right? And then this pointless stuff here, this is somehow drill, so Mesa 3D of, and I understand, thankfully you don't see the name. Thankfully I see it there, it's clipped by 16 by 10, thank goodness. Shit, there's an XByte. Anyway, those people are amazing. Don't send me the police and don't send me an evil. I'm only the messenger, right? I try to make all the stuff great, but I cannot anymore, right? It makes no sense. It is frustrating. You cannot believe how time wasting, burning out, frustrating it is. Every month, each time I test something, I need to fix something. I power it on, network doesn't work, SCSI doesn't work, fiber channel doesn't work, like not all in one machine, right? Sound doesn't work anymore, and not to mention, and now video, right, is also that is also a problem because the video 3D was historically very weak in Linux and Unix and open source because always intellectual property, we can't give you like NVIDIA and initially all Matrox was the first and to open up, and ATI, I believe ATI, if I recall correctly, was even financed by the Weather Channel or something. They did broadcasting and weather 3D animation as far as I remember correctly. With Linux 25 years ago, even id Software, John Carmack of all people was involved in early Utah GLX, and he even, what I didn't even remember, even id Software, John Carmack wrote NVIDIA things. One of the, what most people don't know, and even I sort of forgot, one of the early 3D drivers with Utah GLX 30 years ago was actually NVIDIA Riva TNT or whatnot by id Software, John Carmack of all people. Of course deleted, right? Long time ago deleted. We had S3 Verge, yes, deaccelerator, deleted. We had Voodoo and stuff, of course deleted. We had Matrox, and all this stuff was working, right? Matrox was the reference best working driver 20 years ago, right? Or 25 years ago. I only purchased, I purchased probably 3 Matrox cards in my life, like in 1998, 2001, 2003 or so. Because they were the best working with X386, deleted. In the meantime, I have a couple of more because I auctioned some and got some donated, so I probably have 10 Matrox cards and stuff, but it does not even matter that I have 10 Matrox cards. If I have 1 or 3 or 10, they were the best. Sure, in retrospect, the C code, the C code as usual wasn't the best, so the new Mesa and Xorg people, we don't like this old code and security. You know what? If you want security browsing the internet, you do not need to use this driver. And also you don't need to delete everything because like, yeah, this old code security, like either leave it there, print a warning or whatnot. But this new thing since the last, basically the first decades of open source and Linux was make everything great again. Now it is delete everything faster or refactor, but don't test. This was, by the way, found by IBM. So currently Mesa is broken. As far as I can see, the current Mesa since this summer, and I knew this since October, but I only bisected yesterday because somehow each day I have to bisect something. This was partially patched in some things by IBM S390 mainframe people of all people. Oops, also 3. We had this yesterday in some live stream. Mesa 3D. So there was some broken, running mainframe stuff, whatever. There was somewhere was it this building test 3, wherever, it's whatever. Somewhere, but this only affected some part, like maybe local VNC forwarding, whatnot, I don't know. But I believe there are multiple bugs. So there's this, since this revision in July, July. So I knew this since October because we test early and whatnot. And it only becomes right. So what this does here is this is original. And so this is this refactoring, right, with this drill stuff here, which is like, do we really want this? Like I actually liked individual drivers, not like this huge lip drill thing, whatever is going on there. But whatever, it's maybe higher performance, whatnot. I wouldn't call it the most modular and scalable whatnot, but everyone's their own. Probably it's faster with something or whatever. But also if if this DRI stuff is on the way out and whatnot, like maybe stop touching it and stop deleting it. So this, as you see, this pipe format things, because the issue is now, so what is the issue? The issue is 3D does not work at Big Endian and many other architectures. And if you run glx info, it doesn't even do something. Also, yeah, I don't have this here. Like if I would turn on the UltraSpark, which we worked on yesterday, or the Apple G5, you would glx like no matching, whatnot, no drawable font, whatnot. We bisected this. This is some local RGB or whatever. I don't. So the problem is, this is such. I mean, it's not the biggest, but like I would need to study all of this stuff, know what precisely is going on here, and there are also other regressions. Other regressions are. So after this, yeah, yes, it's not the biggest, but this is not like comfortably like, yeah, I would need to guru meditate, like what they change here, and obviously something is going wrong and whatnot, and order and not in. And but the point is also it should not constantly be broken. There are more issues. On Itanium, then someone said, the other issue is that also the software fallback doesn't work. On PowerPC, it's also the thing. I think this change here or some other around this also changed. There are, I believe, still 2 software renderers, one custom written, like software of no GPU, but yeah, you don't have a driver, you get slow, super slow software stuff, because Mesa software was always super slow. Yes, a little bit faster now, but still super slow. And that does also not work with LVM often. So on PowerPC, where like 32-bit PowerPC, maybe more, I didn't test all yet. I tested it on a 64-bit G5, like dual. We are talking latest edition IBM 750 MP or whatnot, dual core, 2.5 gigahertz, I believe, the fastest Apple SKU there, probably, that they sold, with 32-bit user space, because performance, probably it is the same as other. So there I get LVM because they use LVM to JIT this, right? Remember, using LVM for everything, what could possibly go wrong? And then I get their relocation, like you run even glx. I also don't understand, why do they need to JIT code, right? You only want to run glx info, and you got, on PowerPC, I currently get LVM, relocation not supported or whatnot. It's like, nah. On Spark, I get JIT not implemented. So I thought like there is CodeGen in LVM, and then you also have JIT, like just in, like you have static ahead of time code generation, and then you have newer also JIT. I naively assumed like if we have CodeGen in LVM, then we also have JIT. Turns out maybe not, or this is incorrectly wired up. So on Spark I get JIT not supported, thank you very much. And on Itanium, I get LVM totally, like CodeGen totally not supported. It's like, yeah, obviously because we don't have LVM Itanium support. That was deleted over a decade, maybe 15 years ago. Initially LVM, of course, had Itanium. But 15 years ago, LVM, nah, we're not for Itanium, whatever. So basically, because I say this, because Itanium is Little Endian. So it's broken on all of Big Endian as far as can see. Since this commit, now we need to study this. But the point is, I'm also increasingly done, right? Like I thought I released the next big, greatest, best tested release of T2 Linux in November. Now we have it the end of November, after I worked, I coded and wrenched every day. So not Volkswagen, this is T2. And now the November is over, and now we realize Mesa is unshippable. Unless we put significant efforts in fixing this. And yeah, similar to other things where we, like 3 years later, the Debian people, Spark is unstable. It's like, yeah, no wonder when it's broken since 3 years. Did anyone else fix this? No, it requires me bisecting this glibc nonsense, and then I get angry emails for pointing it out. And then the only way to make a little bit dollars or euros in the tip jar, making a YouTube video of what effort it was to get working. And then how dare you tell me that all the glibc Spark stuff was like, yeah, I'm sorry, it was broken. It's 3 years. It's like, I tried to revert this. The thing is, if I revert this, we were surprised. If we revert this, it also doesn't work. I mean, then it fails differently. I also have the impression, because the ATI Radeon, and in the Itanium, it's an ATI Radeon. It's not like totally cursed old garbage like Matrox Millennium or whatnot. It's a Matrox. It's an ATI Radeon 300 whatnot, I believe, or some server, ES2000 server or whatnot. Not totally old curse garbage. And then the driver doesn't load, right? Because it then still doesn't work. And then someone in our Twitch chat pointed out, yeah, what happens if you run this export Gallium driver, Gallium_driver, soft pipe, I believe. And it did indeed work. I tried this extra. So the next thing is, like, somehow the driver is not even loaded, right? Like, even if you fix everything and then like, this is 4 hours here, 4 hours there, 8 hours there. And at the end of the month, it's like Mesa still doesn't work. And like, I'm sick and tired and of this attitude of, sure, you could basically say, sure, René, you're young and naive. Nobody is clearly using this. You're the last idiot on earth who wants to try to make this work. But that's the thing, if this doesn't scale, right? My point is, like, first of all, my frustration, for 25 years I make this work, and at the end of the day, they break it, like they delete and break everything faster than I can fix it. Even if I pull 80 hours a week, yes, like neglecting my business a little bit, like only working 30 hours, like, the rest of the week and Sunday and Saturday for free, not earning. Like, I significantly decrease my company's revenue by doing open source, like trying to make the world a better place, fixing all the stuff that I love to see, that I remember we had working, that was working, that were nice machines, trying to do the right thing, the good thing. Nobody thanks you that. If you fix something, the Debian people will only take you. I mean, some people really talk badly about me for years. And it's like, yeah, but where are your fixes, right? Like, each time I fix something, magically it's fixed in other Linux distributions. But like, Mesa are currently broken, Spark 3 is broken. Even when I make a patch, for example, GCC, right, was also broken, misoptimized and set wrong defines for, remember, ITVEC based G5 and cell. I send it upstream. People say, I do not send enough stream upstream. Do you not see I work 80 hours a week? I don't have time to upstream. Like, each time I'm done with something, I have my to-do. Here's my to-do. Word count L to-do. A year ago, it was 666 lines. We worked probably 66 lines. Yeah, my to-do grows faster of fix this, test this, likely broken, testing. I fix also, like, yeah, no, the new kernel, yes, deleted, but also bug on P3 theoretical testing. Probably each time I test P3, something is broken. SG Octane, there's also thing. I mean, this is just like basically rethings. Yeah, fix Mesa as run it, like other things, Linux firmware, like this, that, AMD is like, and so on, right? It's like, I can't implement, like, my to-do is growing faster than I can fix this shit. And I have to say, I get it. You were right, it is pointless. Nobody wants to use this shit, nobody cares about this shit. Nobody wants big endian, nobody wants Itanium, nobody wants DEC Alpha. Although DEC Alpha is older than Itanium, it's still the Linux kernel. Fine, you have won. Patch your stuff yourself, patch is welcome. If you want this working, I'm so done with this, right? And then on forums, this new Linux users on forums like Phoronix and stuff, of course nobody's using this, why is this old shit in there? Like, why should it be in there? It's like, why do you discuss this on some forum? I mean, sure, everyone can have this opinion, but then not appreciating that some people maintain their support for old architectures. But on the other hand, these are the same people who then on the internet curse and rant, how dare Apple and how dare Microsoft that they do not support the last generation's hardware in Windows, where are they, 11, 12, I lost overview. Mac OS certainly, how dare Apple remove support for, like, yeah, in Linux we could have all this working, but like, they're pretty delete happy here these days, like with like, and this is not much, right? Is this your one from, okay, this is 1 from 10. But the base CPU support here, this is not that much, right? This is the smallest. The irony is, all this old stuff is simple. Like every AMD GPU generation has more 100,000 lines, if not millions lines of code in the Linux kernel than this tiny little architectures, right? And you don't need, as you see there, people are like, yeah, we didn't, like, the code copied from Arch, PowerPC, and before that, it mostly predates Git, so the original authorship is largely lost if anyone who wrote of this code and would like a credit entry, just let me know. So we didn't touch it much, but that is also the point. It is working. Don't, like, you didn't have to touch it. Like, this is not eating your bread. It's, the code just lives there. Just don't break it more. But sure, delete it. Yeah, I don't know. Basically, my life work of keeping all the stuff worthless. Nobody wants it anyway. What illusions did I had? People actively, like big name Linux kernel maintainers and Mesa maintainers, like big Indian who? What? What do you say? Risk architecture. We have here some nice CISC things. Yeah, let's take a look at the comments. I don't like, so of course I will not give up T2. But I think I will, the other thing is, I fixed, so for example, SGIO2 frame buffer is broken for long, like SGIO2 frame buffer does boot, but you can't start X. I think the bug was probably 8 years old. Of course, I didn't send it yet upstream. Would be too easy for the Debian people. Other things that I fixed, at times like 8 years not working, 10, like based on that was, all the stuff was broken, like SGIO2. This was broken, actively broken by refactoring, right? Like let's refactoring some stuff, like some DMA APIs, some APIs, like of course they accidentally break stuff, right? Or other, like this ultrasparks, the other kernel instabilities also, like here's some things, there's some things. I think I probably made a video, previous video. Also like let's refactor here some module code and it's probably fine. It's like, yeah, except in that case, they even also actively of neglectance of not reviewing each detail, they actually actively forgot their some flag. Could even show you that here. So that is Linux. What did I say? Spark, right? So given, so one was mount options and the other was what Spark humor? This is something that's hotfix mount. This cannot be this, can it? It was, so one was this. Was there not a second one? Maybe it affected multiple. Maybe I called this hotfix. It was code. Where do we have like mem? Exec mem, this here. All right, so this is as easy as this VM flag. So they only forgot to zero. Yeah, so this flush reset. So yeah, this VM flush reset. So this is, they refactored more code and stuff. But previously the in-kernel executable memory was mapped with no additional VM flags, and other architectures mapped this with VM flush reset permissions here, perms. And that is somehow causing some corruption that I don't have time to further analyze. Also, it previously, like David S. Miller or other amazing Spark people previously, like it was not mapped. So probably there, I mean, obviously it causes instability, and it was previously mapped with this flex, VM flex 0. So like they just refactored code, like, yeah, they just unified new API and stuff, and like, yeah, breaking some architectures, right? Like making them unstable. And like this kind of stuff, it took me probably hours. Was it not during this I was swatted, right? I probably, this bucket probably took me 16 hours that nobody thanks me when I post on a news site or something. Then Debian Arch people come with their forks and their BSD forks, like, how dare I shameless self-promote. Is like, yeah, cool, but how did you get big and famous? Like, it's not like we are the biggest and famous. Like, you sometimes thought out, hey, we also do some things. How dare you mention your Linux distribution? It's like, sorry, okay. It's fine, use your Debian, okay? Use your Debian. It's fine. So, yeah, I should, like every, so I would have, as I said, I would have had hundreds of thousands, if not million euros more as a professional software developer if I would not have spent 50,000, and I'm not even freaking joking, right? I previously estimated that, previous video. From now on, I will be more selfish and clever and actually focus on business, like AAA YouTube videos. Hey, review this stuff. Have you seen this amazing man of new products and stuff? Basically do the clever thing, like do stuff that people actually want, like tech videos and commercial software that people actually pay for, because I said this before, right? I cross, like, my Linux business is making 100,000 euro loss every year, right? It's not, I'm not even freaking making money, because I said before, it's extremely difficult to make money with Linux because nobody freaking mostly want to pay. So I cross-finance this with selling Mac and Windows projects for our willingly paying happy commercial software companies, and the open source people come with their pitchforks. How dare I say something that's broken and say something negatively? But yeah, cool, and then send a patch please and make Mesa work on Big Onion again, right? Because I'm sick and tired and I have no energy left. You upstream people, you sucked all the energy out of me of trying this. I'm not even amazed by this code, right? I mean, usually it's like, nah, this code is like, code quality and stuff is like, or the Rust, like, then they make it nearly impossible. I tried 3 times to integrate Rust support for Linux kernel to build the Asahi Linux AGX driver. Sure, if you use this special snowflake, I have still not managed to do that. Only once proof of concept I had it mostly building, but like, and that was the next thing, right? Like, hey, the latest and greatest. And yeah, plus each day I need to fix the Rust and cargo stuff, right? Not even to mention the latest Thunderbird of Mozilla stuff does not even build due to latest Rust binding generation stuff not working. So that's also the thing, right? So not only do I try until recently keep this stuff building, but on top of this, we also, if we want to have some working Linux system and some surrounding desktop or other UI application stuff, I constantly need to fix like this Mesa stuff, like GNOME, you've seen it previously. I spent hundreds of hours, and I documented this, right? I'm not fantasizing the stuff together. I made 5 years ago when we didn't update KDE and GNOME for 10 years because now YOLO whatever, it's not very snappy. And so I made a 7-hour KDE and 6-hour GNOME or vice versa. So 6 hours here, 7 hours here, plus all the everyday little bit. And then I even made a over 10-hour Twitch live stream just a year ago or 8 months ago. So where like after this initial 6 or 7 hour thing, like even adding more packages, like because I couldn't. Why? Because I couldn't even build Kmail, right? Like what Linux distribution do we have if we can't even build Kmail anymore? Because we needed K indoor maps, K opening hours, and who knows what, and K activities and whatnot. And like for 10 after doing stuff for so long, yes, we neglected, but like just packaging the stuff and getting it mostly to build, right? Not even to save other Wayland stuff and things like. Basically, yeah, I'm speechless. I also don't understand the celebration. Like 20 years ago, as I said, 20 years ago, we were all happy of like more hardware. Like we were proud, more hardware supported. Yay, Linux is the best operating system, or BSD, or whatever your slice of whatnot is. But now it's this, yes, delete, forums and Phoronix reporting rejoice, or Tom's hardware and who knows what? Yes, and the register. Yes, Titanium is deleted. Yoo-hoo! It's like, yeah, and the millions of machines produced that could still run in banks and offices or people's basement. Or 386 and what? Like, what does 386 support hurt you? Like this 1,000 lines of code there, or here's this Bali. It's like you want to tell me this are not 100,000 lines of code. Every DRM driver is bigger than this measly tiny little bit of and these are not even the most unusable machines. And that is somehow, and another thing I wanted to say, if every developer would just have one, not like i10, one. No, and look, like every major, like every main, like every popular, like Linus Torvalds and then Cox, Michael Ellermann, Benjamin Herrenschmidt, or here Daniel Blumenkranz, or Daniel Stone and stuff, or all the other, like full-time open source, or maybe even paid by the Linux Foundation, like just one other machine that they liked, like as a kid, like if Linus Torvalds would have kept the 386, or like, I'm not asking 10, only one. Imagine if every big name, and only sometimes, let's say once a quarter, like every 3 or 4, 5, 6, maybe even only or 2 times a year, turns it on, like Linus Torvalds' 386, or maybe he hates it, like let's say Linus Torvalds, remember when he did for university, PhD or whatnot, whatever he did there, when he ported his tiny little Linux operating system to DEC Alpha, if he would have, or his Transmeta Crusoe, when he worked at Transmeta. I'm only saying one, like Benjamin Herrenschmidt, maybe some PowerPC thing or Apple or whatever he liked the most, like some SGO2. Imagine, and just as a hobby, right? They like code, they did all this, they like it. Imagine let's say we have some 1,000 or 10,000, the open source world is big, right? Imagine everyone would just take care of one old thing to keep working with Linux or BSD. Everything would be perfect, right? But of course it's not their duty, it's not their responsibility, we are not forcing. I'm only proposing, just, right? Also, it's good for code quality, right? Like Big Onion, like making sure stuff is portable. There is still Big Onion stuff out there, in IBM mainframes, for example, where actually they found this and fixed it a little bit for some, like doesn't fix what they fixed, that doesn't fix my use case here, but like some other parts of Mesa, because Mesa is huge. Also vintage drivers, right? In my opinion, and that also coming full circle, what I mentioned earlier, probably 30 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago I said, in Linux and BSD, anyway, it's a problem. We had usually most drivers, yes, and that's also the thing, right? We always had missing drivers, like this proprietary, this not reverse engineered, but all in all, over the decades, we had 80, I don't know, like sure, there's so much special snowflake, HDMI capture card and whatnot, sure, some exotic things never worked, didn't work, okay. But otherwise, like most things like SCSI, fiber channel, ATA, SATA, HSCI, network, Ethernet and stuff, we probably had like 80, 90% of the drivers or whatnot. And graphic cards were always lacking, right? Because intellectual property, top secret, had to be reverse engineered, except even NVIDIA, as I mentioned early with its software and John Carmack, even had open drivers. So probably with cooperation with NVIDIA, I guess John Carmack probably had some NVIDIA documentations, I would guess. Maybe I should interview him. And so this driver was in there in Utah GLX before. Utah GLX before this was different 3D architecture. Utah GLX, probably most people too young to remember. Here's this Wikipedia stuff of creating fully free open source when this was less direct and stuff. And this is also how this was lost. Sure, these drivers were not amazing. It was low performance. Now we have Mesa and stuff. But even then, with DRI, now we had DRI, the original direct running infrastructure, DRI2, because like, and then sure, I understand, always like this, okay, we invented some API, it's not good enough. Later, like as always, when they invent this, Utah GLX likes too indirect, too network, like we need more direct high performance. Okay, I get it. Then we got DRI1. It's the best invention since sliced bread. And then some years later, of course, time goes on. It's like, yeah, don't like this code anymore. Like, have you seen our code? We need to have better performance, more direct. Like, let's make it DRI2, of course. Fair enough. Sure, we learned stuff. We reverse engineered stuff. Like, we need more high performance, more demanding games, more features. Okay, and we usually did not immediately lose drivers. But now what they did is they were even maintained along for some time. Now, in the meantime, we have DRI3, I believe. And they start now they like, yeah, this old drivers DRI1 delete, like probably Voodoo and ATI. Remember, we had ATI Mach. Yes, old crap in the meantime, but it was working. Also, didn't have to believe, nobody asked you to actively maintain it and make sure it's secure with latest Firefox or whatnot, which wouldn't. But like the difference is we could have and people could also learn, right? Because modern drivers are super complex. So it would serve two purposes, or three. First of all, there are poor countries which might have this in production, which otherwise run Windows, I don't know, 95 or whatnot, as it's probably still the case in many corners of the world. The other thing is vintage and retro enthusiasts like ThinkLGR, 8-bit, and Guy and everyone else in between, and all the other people I don't even know. They could use Linux and it would just work, right? How amazing would this? How much marketing, and it would totally change the attitude of like, yeah, Linux doesn't have drivers. Like, yeah, if we delete all of them, we don't have drivers, right? We had all these drivers. and they were deleted for like cleanup and security. Like, dude, what security? Like, you don't run the latest and greatest Firefox on and YouTube playback and online banking on Matrox card. And even if they're security, then someone could also fix it a little bit, because all of those drivers were tiny, right? Like, we're talking tiny drivers, like similar to like deleting Matrox driver, like something like this, or Matrox, also Matrox a little bit larger in Mesa. But like we're talking 10,000, 20,000 lines of code. We're not talking like the modern AMD GPU stuff, like 100,000 here, 500,000 there, and nobody can debug anymore because it's so complex. It needs a team of 10 or a dozen people who debug instances. And was it already 3? So it was developing countries, vintage and retro, or otherwise second systems. I don't even know what I wanted to say for the third, but simply think people. Not everyone is as rich as who knows who, Linus Torvalds or whatnot, right? People might actually have this as a second. Normal people only might have one halfway, or some, let's say some normal person, student or stuff, has only a 4-year-old PC that he might use with Windows, and then the other in the family in the basement might have something like this, and then you install this for, I want to test Linux, you take your, then in the meantime 10-year-old family PC with some Matrox card or ATI card, it's like, yeah, just deleted the driver, sorry, you can't drive like, right? Plus, did I mention education? I wanted to mention education, which is those old drivers, yes, fixed function meaning the new ones are of course unified shaders and stuff. And the others were fixed function, meaning fixed function GL, that had here all the same Rust, not even a triangle setup, had, where do we have somewhere? Do we have somewhere? So you could only render solid, shaded, or textured vertexes, right? Do they not have a nice graphic? Oh, come on, you want one illustration purposes graphic, and even that you don't find here in this modern. So the old hardware basically was fixed function. They only could do this, so you couldn't run some modern OpenCL stuff. But nobody's asking for this, right? And the difference is now, and additionally, that is not even all. Additionally, they deleted all the 2D acceleration as well, right? All line drawing and solid filling and bit BLT, and which is absolutely a shame, right? You can't even like on 10-year-old hardware, 15-year-old hardware, like basically your second family PC in the basement or whatnot, that you want also for test and experience, or like for network sniffing, for like, you know, this people learning network and needing some old PC or two or whatnot, and then sure you have some graphic, but so slow you can't even drag a window, right? Software drawing some gigahertz thing, whatnot. In the meantime, super slow, because all the device driver dependent X2D driver were deleted, which ironically I spent dozens of hours over the last years. Most of them are upstream broken, right? Like Mesa, MGA, and driver, like we tested most of them because I have a collection of PCI and AGP and stuff cards, and half of them didn't work. Like half of them be even fixed. Like I think most of mine, and the thing is, like now I don't even know with latest Xorg stuff, like all I fixed, like is all I fixed, like now I need my yes, I need to automate my vintage VGA and AGP card collection and automated testing, because I can't even be sure what I fixed this summer that it still works, so thank you very much. And this deletion, I also didn't understand, right? We deleted this years ago, Xorg, and I said this before, this was XAA, X-Accelerated Architecture. XAA is like 20 years ago. And this is also this new set. Remember the tone here? I anyway don't like the tone of Phoronix, but don't tell them and don't send me an angry email. But in general, I have problems with this reporting on Phoronix, with everything like, yay, something has been deleted. It's like, yay, 3.6 has gone, yay, Xorg's like, what yay? Like we had drivers, they were working, and now old stuff is, if you run graphic stuff like for a test or whatnot, it's freaking slow, right? How is this, how is this positive? And you don't like, and the crazy thing is, the people who deleted this are mostly those who did Wayland, right? So imagine like, Xorg's a code base not super amazing because like, have you seen the code? Sure, fully agree. I also don't like how the Xorg code was written. But that is another point, right? But why you say, okay, Xorg, like 20, 30 years, okay, 30 years later, like a decade ago, 30 years later, because Xorg is a lot. so old. You say, okay, Xorg was an amazing network. Although I would say actually Xorg was pretty amazing, right? This is modern stuff like, we don't like Xorg anymore. Have you seen what Xorg has done for all the Unix stuff? How amazing networked Windows stuff was and how much it was used everywhere. And sure, there were security bugs and stuff, but there are also security bugs in the Linux kernel. Do we want to delete all the Linux kernel on glibc now just because there is some shitty code somewhere? Shitty code is everywhere, right? Like even in Rust and Cargo. But what highly irritates me is this people who like, and we now do Wayland, and as a last thing they delete the vintage and retro driver. Like, we do this Wayland thing now, but as the last thing we delete the last drivers, like, or we make them unusable. So the drivers are still there, right? Like if we go here, what drivers are we talking? We talk here about XF86 here, like all this good stuff. And so the irony is they are still there. They are of course not the most maintained, like, and they still break the APIs, right? Even in Xorg, like although we have Wayland and stuff, like they still, let's clean up. I totally don't get this. Like, this API, this argument is rarely used, let's remove it. This call order we don't like, let's change the call order. So the last decade, in my opinion, they contributed next to nothing. They mostly destroyed, they only caused regressions. To this day, for the summer, we have here tons of hotfixes that I didn't even send upstream because isn't it nicer when stuff only works on T2 Linux and nobody cares anywhere, right? Why should I send it upstream? And allegedly, apparently nobody cares anywhere, right? So Xorg XF here of all of, there should be quite some patches like hotfix this, res range here, include uncrash, MIB restore, mode stuff, and it's like a hardware cursor, and maybe more that I forgot. And also some things is in Xorg server. I believe here actually there are more patches like Xorg. Some stuff is also like unfix and unbreak, and like this IO perms is needed for some like. How much? So I'm not making this stuff up, right? There's a reason why other distributions cherry pick of like, hey, have you seen this T2 Linux? No, but we steal all the patches there because there is some dumb person who doesn't get a single dime paid from the Linux Foundation or any other foundation that somehow neglects his work, makes less income, is shouted and yelled at by everyone. But hey, have you seen these patches? There are all the patches that we can take and fix or make our graphic driver work again. Congratulations. But the point is, after doing this 25 years, other people, so my feeling, although of course it is not their, of course it's not their intention to act. I mean, although I have to say this deletion of XAA, like this is really fishy. Like this is really sabotage. Like, and that is also, how else, like why, of course I would have said, we cleaned up the Xorg server, and for what? You wanted Wayland. Like as last thing, you cleaned up the Xorg server so that now it's mostly broken. Like very few drivers, like unless you take them from T2 of course, like in most Linux distributions that did not yet copy all my fixes, and nobody cares anyway, right? Like so all the stuff is either broken or super slow. Like, but even with my fixes here, it's super slow because 12 years ago they deleted this XAA acceleration. This XAA was the old school solid line, Brazenham lines, solid fill, bitBLT and stuff, and even arc circles. Yes, it's mostly not used for modern things, but at least like full solid window movement or some lines, and also also this argument, but this is not used by KDE Economy. First of all, you still move windows, and second of all, you could still use old-fashioned IceVM, right? TWM, FV, whatnot, right? And this is also like, but we only run Meson and we only run Wayland and whatnot, and Hyperland and Sway. Like, yeah, sure, but don't delete all the stuff it's like, what attitude is it? Plus what I said, standing on the shoulder of giants, people spent their lifetime, they use reverse engineering 30 years ago, reverse engineering all the stuff, implementing all the early x386 stuff, when everything was more difficult, without virtualization and other advanced debugging tools and whatnot, right? And often without hardware specification and other bugs, and much slower on a 386, 486 Pentium, and so on, or other Sun workstations, right? And over the last decades, people just came, delete, I didn't use, did you use, have you ever heard about this? Delete. Anyone here in the office at Red Hat still is, no, oh, delete. It's like, it's hilarious, right? And it is, as I wanted to say, we have a shortage of graphic drivers, and we created it. Sure, this is vintage and retro. There are still people who love their stuff. Like, don't look at me, just look at NetBSD. And NetBSD has even some more drivers. NetBSD was just discussed today on the Xorg mailing list, or at least discussed as someone sent an email. The NetBSD people even have a couple, I mean, not only the NetBSD things, they probably have more. And this also, am I negatively to everyone? No, these are amazing people. Thanks for the high performance stuff. And Linus Torvalds for creating Linux. A pain that now you start deleting all your stuff you created. But the NetBSD, look at that. I can shout at other people that do amazing stuff, because the NetBSD people, I think they maintain older versions. Maybe even they have EXA. And this is a positive thing. Why do the NetBSD people maintain old Xorg stuff? Because they have not acceleration stuff, potentially maybe disabled, I guess, deleted. They even have hardware acceleration for the SGIO2, which Linux does not have. They also have some P9100 Vitek driver for at least some Spark laptops, and probably 7 other drivers that were never upstream. And I knew this just today. Someone asked, because I was already eyeing the SGIO2 driver, like, can we not make this SGI crime, I believe, or whatnot driver, GBE graphical backend thing of the SGIO2 crime ASIC upstream and work on Linux, which would not be the hardest task. But the problem is, it's deleted anyway, right? Like, there is basically no point for me to, I would love to have this. I would love to, I could even make, someone tipped me some hardware specification things for the O2, and it's not complete. Theoretically, the SGIO2 has S3 Verge-like, or 3DFX Voodoo-like. Not the same, I'm only saying like. We could even write a 3D driver for the SGIO2, right? But what is the point? Like, everything is deleted. The whole infrastructure, some Red Hat, and it's like they probably have, you know what they have? There is this keyboard fat big delete single key thing, right? They probably, that is what they have there. Like, have you seen like this? There's this. Someone has like one huge, like, they sit there, delete. Like, I don't, like, it's hilarious. It absolutely is. And I'm sick of 4 hours here, 8 hours there, it accumulates, right? Like, why should I fix the stuff not to work on Big Endian? My main workstation also is not Big Endian, right? Just that my dust collecting collection has working Big Endian support. It's like just patches welcome. Debug your stuff yourself. That is a commit. That is the first commit. Maybe some more. Your mileage may vary, and otherwise, I love you very much too. But all in all, so it's not, as you see, probably 50 minutes, 58 minutes, 1 hour. I'm sorry that it is so long. I'm just frustrated, right? And on the other hand, you see the 8-bit guy, you see this doesn't compute, you see there are other people who love this stuff, right? And if you don't love it, Linus or Mike or Daniel, then don't delete it, right? And don't each time break it. Plus many new things I anyway don't like, right? Plus Rust and Cargo anyway, not amazing. Amazing that so many people tune in. It's always like, if I make a live stream, how many people tune in? It was overdue. I had already, like, I did not plan to make this video. What was on my schedule is, beside reviewing amazing tech products, is, hey, we have an amazing release. I did not foresee, because initially I thought it's either a one, as I said 58 minutes ago, it's either a one-time build thing or some like initial setup thing here with whatnot, and it will probably be fixed. Or I thought it's like a Spark only thing. I did not expect like, yo, they brought all Big Endian, like, or like they broke all Big Endian. Maybe that the other drivers, maybe they only changed the order, that that some things work with software when you export Gallium drivers, softpipe or whatnot. Like, maybe this restructuring here on the other instructions restructuring, there is also there is some loader stuff here where somewhere, and this is drill stuff here, and maybe the order is no different. Oh, and by the way, also on the Itanium with whatever graphic is in there, that also prints a really strange message, and also doesn't work. It prints somehow like Radeon it prints something of the sort Radeon invalid PCI ID or something, while I'm pretty sure that once upon a time previously also did work. Also, did I mention Itanium is deleted and next they want to delete the other things? So that is whatever VGA, AMD, ES1000. So this is a standard server thing from whatnot, right? Maybe this was never wired up in Weser, but like the DRM Linux kernel mode settings thing set some mode, but yeah, Mesa, something of Mesa or whatnot prints Radeon invalid PCI ID. It's like, you see, I don't get out sure. Do I need to support all the 42 systems here? No, I don't. I thought it's a nice thing to keep. I like these machines, and also I like these machines more because the new things are so complex. My Steam Deck, from which I'm live streaming from Steam Deck, which by the way drivers took also, like it took, although it shipped with Linux, it took quite a year to get most drivers like Sync Sound, right? Like sound was upstream, not working for a year. I'm not even sure if everything is still, I think there's still some USB-C, like 2 years or whatnot later, it's still probably not all drivers upstream. I mean, not even to start with, illustration purposes only, where's my Star 5? Anyway, Star 5, High 5, 2 years later also not everything, especially not 3D, not even the frame buffers upstream, right? We merged just some days ago live on Twitch 2T2, so that I've not even tested this, but maybe, like 2 years later you boot Linux and you don't have frame buffer. But hey, you deleted all the other drivers, and maybe you, but even then you still have not 3D, and that's the thing. We have a shortage of 3D drivers, and the old things that were working you delete. But the new stuff, like I don't even know what's going on with Power VR Imagination. I thought they promised some open source driver, but there is some open source driver, but I don't even know what it supports. So apparently not that. Yeah, we have quite some comments. Let's try to take a break. I took a break for a decade, right? Still last comments, I take a break. I mean, the thing is, if I take a break and like, so I thought I make this a YouTube, like the 8-bit guy, like LGR. Sure, I didn't do, my mistake is, of course, is I fix so much stuff. It's not the most presentable, visually pleasing. And then I'm more the technic guy and not the video editing guy to make a video out of this. I only make occasionally, or I mean, my daily Twitch now, previously our daily YouTube, which we moved to Twitch due to some running videos, and now some monthly YouTube update. I took a break, right? I was so frustrated with KDE 4 and GNOME 4. I said this before, 2008. I took a decade of 2008 to 2018. And this is not a new thing. I mean, as you see here, they already deleted all the driver support stuff 12 years ago. During the time I took a sabbatical decade. The problem is when I take a break, everything regresses, right? I only maintain the core things like Linux kernel and GCC and WinUtils and Xorg in general, but not. I didn't touch KDE, I didn't touch GNOME, I didn't touch any other things. I sometimes didn't even touch Firefox because it broke every month, as it does. Then I take a break and I come back, everything is broken, right? It took me now 5 years live on YouTube. Like it took me 5 years to fix everything that broke in the meantime. And now I had everything working and now they broke Mesa. And like if I take a break, then we come like, if I take a break, everything is deleted, right? I was already thinking, should I write here, yo, that's not really the biggest changes, and I actually have two systems and I test them regularly and they actually fully work, and they fully work except audio, which I had on my to-do among the 870 lines to fix eventually. It's some normal Cyrus CS 4000 whatnot IC that's on the ISA bus. It should just work. It did shortly work 25 years ago, but it's somehow documented to not work for 20 years because the ever-changing driver things and stuff. I have theoretically fixing, like for this systems, I have fixing audio on my to-do, but yeah, that went well, right? So basically, it's so frustrating. I did this for 25 years, and to sum it up, other people break and delete. Of course, not necessarily. I'm not saying this. Don't write me an email. Don't send the police. I'm not saying you broke this here intentionally. Fact is. This starts to break big endian and then more breaks, and fact is this stuff here was reworked and now I think when I patch it to mostly work, it does not even load the R300 driver. Maybe it's missing in some new drill table and stuff, but like even this Mesa thing, it's not one thing. It's like some big endian thing here, it's some loader thing there, it's some other, and then they want to delete it soon anyway, right? Like this R300 is already like, we delete it soon, right? Because who is using Radeon R300 series. Yeah, that is the state of open source. I'm really sorry to be the messenger. That's the problem with my videos. Like I sit here at the base of computing things and everything around me breaks, right? Like even Rust and Cargo break. Even Firefox each year I need like, yeah. Firefox is for me also broken on all Big Endian. Like basically I have on my to-do make Firefox work on Big Endian again. I don't even get to that. Like for 3 years I want to do it. But like when, where, right? It's like everything else around it breaks faster than I can get to make Firefox work on Big Endian. Don't give up on the community. We love you, most of us at least. I mean, I will not give up to Linux because otherwise I would not have like. Have you seen the other Linux distributions? And not that I would end up running Arch Linux. My sabbatical year, I did Mac OS, but like Mac OS became also Wallet Guard and vendor login and pbugs and whatnot, and so on. So I will probably become like patches welcome, right? Like if you want your stuff working, if you love your like maybe. I hoped I show so much debugging here that you learn enough to do it yourself. So basically your homework, also like maybe write there. So what I wanted to say, I was thinking to write here like, yeah, it's not so much code and if nobody wants to make changes, I could. But like after how people write to me or respond or comment and not appreciate and whatnot, like why should I? I already now make a loss. And like, why should I maintain some Itanium stuff and some PowerPC stuff? I think it's time to move on to microkernel and a new. I want, like, why do I have a microkernel? I'm not even satisfied with a single address-based monolithic Linux kernel. It's just the mostly best kernel we have. I would still agree with Andreas Tenbaum, like microkernel more, especially in this day and age of virtualization and other things, many core systems, drivers and user space, because the thing is also here, this is everything so integrated that you can't, unlike on other systems like Windows, you can't just like take some old driver, right? Because they change all the APIs like they do between Windows 95 and 2010 and 11. Although, of course, Windows has much better and even macOS mostly better driver compatibility. The problem is that the open source people constantly break this. I never liked this. And sure, the argument is, hey, we have open source drivers. Yeah, but you keep deleting because argument, yeah, we have open source drivers, just compile them. Yeah, what is there to compile? You break APIs, you delete the drivers. Like, what is there to compile, right? So that argument, like, basically this argument promises broken and stuff. And yeah. And don't decide with, like, I'm overworked. Like, the thing is, I knew I was burnt out for years. I thought, like, I do this YouTube and more Linux stuff was like, let's do some more creative things. But the problem is, I realized, like, this was already my code therapy thing here on YouTube and Twitch and stuff. But I realized this makes me more depressed. The problem is, this stuff makes me depressive, right? You love code, you love this hardware, but other people just like an elephant in some fine bonus store, like trumping everything down. It's not the rush. Like I made multiple. I'm sick and tired of regressions and P3 broken and everything I resurrect and stuff. Like I don't look there, they break it. P3 is broken twice in the meantime, right? I didn't even send it upstream yet again. It's not the rush. And also for what, and the people are right. I was naive to think like this is maybe what I did here is also worthless because like who freaking cares about vintage generation, right? At the end of the day, it's old crap that should go to e-waste recycling. They're probably right. It's like yeah, just runs original SGI IREX there or whatnot. Don't connect to the internet, otherwise you get hacked. I heard of any. What? Has anyone ever heard of any Wayland bugs? Where HT? What do you mean with that? The kernel programmer video seems to get timing wrong. Codes, display figures, Lenovo. Open source is dying. I'm being brutally honest here. Mean to code is gonna be. Yeah, that's the thing. And then I read, and then Linus told other Linux kernel developers worry about next generation of coders. Like, yeah, if you create such a situation where you don't value, you basically don't value the contributions and show other people the finger and just delete old code, like although maybe Michael Illermann has written some of this himself, potentially, I believe, potentially, maybe. But it's, and in general, it's not like people, you would think I'm so prominent on maybe a little bit critical thinking and stuff, but still prominent, you would think like people from IBM and whatnot, and I mean, sure, Apple wanted to buy me once, but it's not like I get more contact of like, hey, I saw YouTube videos, I saw you, it's all you make, so can we do this and this embedded project? It's like, it's not like I get more business inquiries through fixing the open source world, right? Like, as I said, I'm brutally honest, it's a lost business, right? And then, yeah. What is which one? I'm in a holodeck here. Open source has changed. Computers are cool in the background. Yeah, computers are cool, but they delete all the support, right? Yeah, open source. And so in general, open source does anyway mostly not work, right? Who pays for open source? Like sure, that is an extreme thing of that's also the thing. So many people in the comments like, I want to become like you and low-level kernel developers, drivers and stuff. I always says it's extremely hard to earn money with this, except you work in big companies. But even the big companies, they outsource this, right? Just look at all the Intel, AMD, and IBM stuff. They have all outsourced names from anywhere. So much to I want to do this, like, yeah, but where outsourced to, like, are you local in those countries where they outsource to? Even NVIDIA has made Cumulus, which is a paid distro. I didn't know they have a distro. Just yesterday or so on Twitch, we learned that even QNX BlackBerry, they have Q and freaking X, and apparently they also want to do, they send somewhere, and maybe in Mesa, I think it was here, like you heard it first, maybe, and that's the thing, like QNX is amazing. Was it QNX or BlackBerry? Was it? No, BlackBerry. Oh, so did this wrong. Somewhere here, I believe somewhere here. I think they called it reference Linux. Not reference frames. They somewhere had like, we want some change. Whatever. Yeah, whatever. Was it not BlackBerry? Aaron Ruby is in the meantime at BlackBerry. The problem is also that I'm not, was it? Which year is it here? 2024? Whatever. Yeah. And also the new thing doesn't even fully work, right? Like the AMD GPU stuff here on the Steam Deck is one of the most unstable I ever had, because like everything maxed on, I don't know if it's just this SoC thing not stable, or everything maxed on one USB-C. That's also modern. This is also, I wanted to say I like this modern, the old systems more, because they are just honestly just working, and this new stuff is so complex. Just look at all the USB 4, all the Thunderbolt, all the graphic drivers, like just look what a complete mess, each driver, one subsystem in the Linux kernel, like people already complain, like 500,000 lines of code here and there for every AMD generation. And then it's not even stable, right? Like, I know the day about it, never heard of checking, it's a networking distro. It makes sense, like Red Hat, but small. The software blame hardware manufacturers, premium software, hardware is a problem with, and less open. We have more software and less open source developers, and they even firing open source contributors. Yeah, I even tried, like when I made RDNA working on RISC-V 4 years ago, I even tried to get just $1,000 or $2,000 from AMD or Sci-Fi, and nobody had any means to even pay, or was the most thrilling, or had means to to pay me just, I didn't even ask for 10,000. It's like, hey, I spent the weekend, it's mostly working. I showed it on YouTube, like if we pay some more, like another 8 hours to finish it or stuff. Like neither AMD or Sci-Fi could find $1,000 or $2,000 to contribute to my work here, right? Like this is a state of open source, and plus now the world economy is not the best anyway. Like first COVID, then wars, and other self-induced business things and other government tumults. What was it on this? I wanted RDNA risk 5. And all right, as seen here previously somewhere. All right, did I make this video recently? I forgot to read that. Yeah, basically the first thing on that on unmatched risk 5, which is absolutely, yeah, I basically should get into the business of making cool, colorful videos. Like everything is more profitable than open source, than working low-level stuff on open source. It's also a shame that the Linux Foundation has no program to finance it here. ChatGPT can do, but ChatGPT can do all this. ChatGPT will not do all this. Said Linux had a good run. Time to move on NetBSD. I mean, NetBSD has less features, less performance and stuff, right? It's not like moving to NetBSD is. It's just. Yeah. I mean, the good thing is ST2 is highly portable, and we can already mostly build on BSD and stuff. I mean, also on BSDs, you potentially have the same XORG stuff, so maybe only NetBSD has old stuff. If you go to FreeBSD, you might have the latest XORG stuff that's also mostly broken and XAA removed. Wonder when what will be removed. Is alpha still maintained? I mean, it's still in there. They want to remove the oldest alpha things because they don't have enough atomic things for new algorithms to work reliably and stuff. So yeah, so the original first generation things they want to remove because not enough atomic, like in 8-bit or whatnot, or atomic things or unaligned atomics. What font? This is Comic Code. It's not Comic Sans, it's a commercial Comic Code font. I was now just remembering what might effectively code culture on open source. What I'm now just remembering that, and it might have affected the code and culture. Which one are you remembering? Comics and Stone looks as pandering, just more content for us. It's Comic Code. Me and my friends are fans, both study computer science, and for us, your goat. Yeah, helps me a little to pay the bills. If nobody, I mean, we have thankfully some donations, but like, I also hoped that all the YouTube stuff would take a little bit more off. Then sure, I make shit content and only fix other people's bugs. It's even boring to myself and depressing myself. We are thankful that we have at least here some, which includes at least $150. I mean, it's amazing, but it also includes, this members include free members, and this includes $150 commercial backer, because obviously commercial people want good, but it's like yeah, I mean, it's the beginning. I also wish it were more. Thought Comic Code, but wasn't sure, maybe. The most common way it is not more about technology anymore. It's not about technology anymore. Hasn't been for years. It's more money and pandering for the latest trendy crap. Yeah, and the latest crap. I don't even like the Rust stuff, right? We even have here I mean, the latest stuff that doesn't even work, right? I find all the new stuff also hilarious. It's not even good. Rust is not the most readable. Cargo is a nightmare. In my previous video, I already made videos about this. Not everything that people pretend to be the latest and greatest and hip and stuff in the press is not always sun. What have I done there? Is this even the right? Yeah, because Thunderbird also doesn't build. Yeah. They can vote their GitHub contribution amounts, but it's too easy. Lines amount, which is sickening. The Rust thing, crystallization. The Rust thing is the crystallification of this 5 years ago. Linus would have just said fuck off and would have been that. Linus fell off. You mean Rust in the kernel? I mean, I couldn't, like, this stuff is so fragile. You need just, I mean, they recently improved this, but they recently just with probably 6.12 or so improved this. Like, you needed some older version and some older, like, this stuff so fragile and constantly changing and never good enough that you always needed very specific version. Like, they relax this a little bit, like you still need, but yeah. And then you also need the source code of the standard library for building it with kernel memory allocation things. It's like, yeah, it's Rust, big brain. Rust is admiration of over complexity. Yeah, kinda. In general, not good implemented, especially all the cargo micro dependencies. Yeah, hyper micro dependencies. And now we're going on banning developers. That's not. I mean the Bcache FS developer is also not the super most friendly, but given the it's not really the more unfriendly than Linus Torvalds himself and stuff. Rust is an interesting. So comment there. Rust is an interesting language. Doesn't belong to the kernel. I mean I agree in so far. I mean. I agree and disagree. It's an interesting language, but not a good one. I think Rust, a well-designed Rust-like memory-safe language should have better readable. It should be more readable. Like basically, they set out to make more safer and more readable, and it's not. It's in my opinion not more readable than C++. Like all the Rust stuff is, in my opinion, here of. Just to some excites. I mean, okay, this is not even the super, it's just, yeah, it's not the super most representable, but we even need to patch this stuff because they can't get atomic things. I also agree, I wouldn't mix it, right? I think it becomes a maintenance mess. There is ReduxOS, they should do their ReduxOS thing, but I would not mix it as excessively, then it's just a maintenance nightmare. People would love to hear Carmack's comment on this. I mean, he probably would agree, like, yeah, first nice try to low performance had to be rewritten. I would be more interested to hear, like, was it fun? How was it to or does he remember? Was it amazing or was whatnot things of that sort? Want to be cool kid with Rust, nothing practical here. They want to be cool kids with Rust. Linux since 1977 here. Happy to hear that. Love the development, which I love the development, which goes backward as an Indian. 100% agree, especially as a student. Some good Linux news config reserve is what. So I don't like this riser. I said this before. This is also stupid because like. We have this in production now, and like deleting, and we have backups. And I said this the other, I don't like the riser as removal as much as he sits in the prison because we have much older, crappier stuff, right? I said this the other day on Twitch, like just yesterday or the day before. Like, why don't we release so because this was one of the first high performance tunneling file system stuff, and you don't need to use it in production, but you might always find some old backups or other interesting discoveries, right? And then you can't mount it. Then you always need some VM, install some old crap. And we have much crappier file systems here, right? We have Minix. Like, why delete Riser? Which, by the way, I plan to reinstate Riser in T2 because I want to hold my old media. Then I would have some old zip drives and can't mount them. This is completely silly, right? Like, we keep here X2, like, for what? For like boot medium or whatnot. I'm not saying to delete this, I'm only saying like we keep X2 but delete, like why do we delete the much newer Riser 3 and not, we have here Minix, we have here even QNX, like probably nobody used this in 20 freaking years, right? Like why not start deleting, and I don't even agree with deleting this. Here we have, not XFS, what did I have, QNX, Fear 4, and we have here Minix OS and stuff. Like we have here totally unused, completely like stuff that's so cursedly old, crappily broken garbage that even I have never used it. Like they delete stuff that I had in production since years ago, recently. But the stuff that even I never touched, that's strange. Like why delete one thing and not the other? And I mean, not to mention like Coda, like remember this distributed file system or. I mean, there is more complex delete versus stuff. And Riser, like this is just, or like probably the CF3 VFX fifths, like if we would have a microkernel with a stable user space API, then we could also just keep old file systems, right? Yeah, I cry over Riser 3, and it's another pointless deletion. Like, why not the other things first? And then each time I find, like, I actually wanted to go through all. I have here a box with hard disks and other floppies and stuff. I actually wanted eventually, with a warm winter night, go through there and see what old discoveries from my work I find there. And then I need some old system for that, or VM or whatnot. And then I need to attach external storage to the VM. And it's like, it's just silly. Many people just love cleanup and don't like, yeah, you can't do something productive. So like if you can't write, like, is this like you can't write code, so you just delete, or what? Like, or, I mean, this is so silly. So the good thing is, what I said this for 5 years already, like, I want something way cooler than Linux. I want something way cooler than Xorg and Mesa. And remember the future that is Wayland? And a decade later, we are still not here. And I say for years, I did even prototypes, right? Like years ago, when I was wondering, how hard is it really to keep this alive? Because I've never written a 3D driver from scratch, and so I did here this, right? Live coding here is I did years ago in my own, like, how hard can it really be to program some registers, to draw some lines? And I even got something working, like we did S3 Verge, we did Voodoo, like proof of concept, like 100 lines of code to texture triangle and stuff. And that is, we are talking 100 lines of code to texture triangle. Like this kind of level we talk here, right? And I wrote, because I have in this OCO 01, I have this Lynx 3D that we never had a 3D driver, and there is even open register level documentation. So yeah, multiple views, right? Started here, how hard can it be? If there is some, on some FTP server, some documentation. It's not fully complete, but it even includes 3D bits. It doesn't include, like, it looks complete but didn't, or it is complete but doesn't mention some things. So yeah, I got this working, right? Like the vendor, the original vendor of this Lynx 3D chip, like Silicon Motion, they're still in business and do SD card things, right? Like SSD things. And this is textured by the hardware, like right? We did this here, and like it took me way long, as usual, because it wasn't fully documented. Yeah, got this working, right? And the only driver, the only 3D driver ever existed for this chip, as far as I know, is for Windows 95, the DOS-based Windows 3 16-bit stuff, garbage version of, initial total garbage version of Windows. And so they never put in the resources, because although this was a popular, this was, I mean, presented by Bill Gates as Guinness World Record smallest computer here, right? That of course I collected and thankfully got cheap 15 years ago. Extremely rare these days. This transmitter Crusoe, and like on some Microsoft Windows developer conferencing or Windows whatnot presented. And so this chip was of course also used in other computers, right? And so they shipped it. The original, like, Pop X, this costed $2,000 when new here, wherever it was, is somewhere, like really expensive, expensive and mostly useless device. $2,000, comes with Windows XP, later even tablet edition or so, and they don't have the 3D driver for Windows XP, because the only only regular video driver without 3D, although the chip could do it, right? Yeah, and only fixed function GL and stuff, but still you could run some games a little bit isolated instead of none, especially on those low performance Crusoe. So yeah, got this working, nice achievement. But the thing is also the code is so complex that I don't even feel or dare or would want. It's deleted anyway, like DRI1 and stuff. Right, recurrently code not amazing and complex and deleted. So it's not like I just write the Linux driver. So what I probably shall like and subscribe, probably should make a dedicated announcement. What it means is I have to move on. Like, this is not healthy. I burned myself out on this, and very few people appreciate this, except here my fans in the audience and stuff. Certainly not this people who want to delete the next things. Yeah, shall I subscribe for the next? Like I wanted to like this is I have enough. Like if you break me all of Big Endian, then like I don't know. Like this is just said. All of Big Endian and then some. Achievement unlocked. It's amazing. It's probably more efficient on some Steam Deck now or whatnot. Which sometimes it's not even shitty. It's just old. I mean, the C code is often anyway not. We are talking bad C code versus even worse C code. So it's just many corners in the Linux kernel are not pretty C code. Like clean C code you work with. Guy who would rewrite stuff and checked in before going home. You gunner in the morning and you code gunner replaced with his crap when stuff breaks he hides. Fun. My old laptop can afford a better one. Can't even decode H.264. New disks like 24/7. When I haven't heard everyone gets the idea. It is related. Windows Visual Studio. Windows is cancer. Windows bloatware. Experience once that it was awful sometimes. Big delete button. Big form enter key. Big form delete key of like that's how Red Hat operates. Yeah, when you are paid by lines of code and your lines of code is deletion, right? Like, hey, boss, I did 15,000 lines of code today. I deleted them. No upgrades. I want to delete Rust from kernel. Is there a button for it? Rust is not yet used for anything meaningful except AGX ASI 3D. What else do we have here? People asking what I run. Of course, we run T2 Linux on cursed on cursed. Here T2, of course. Necessities for great, unsuccessful, and open source unbreaking living. I think we missed here gazillions of comments. Let's quickly, so the problem is if I go, it makes the YouTube video unnecessarily long, but it is what it is. There's so many pop-up, can we, pop-up, go away. Some quick scroll here, anything else here, VS Code, what else, more Windows charts, more, was never crashed. Vim has never crashed in 20 years. Sometimes it crashed for me. What do you think about Penfrost GPU driver on Rockchip? I mean, nice work. Any driver better than none. More upstream than missing OpenVR things. Seems like this one task of putting up this crap fancy thing. Small world, energy from stay in the fight, code torture. Need function old driver, but why do we need exactly need? But they are working. The people delete. Why not? You have some. You like your stuff. Like you want to. Like now I know I play. Why? First of all, why not? They are nice. They are still people just like tinker. Like why do people still play with Commodore C64 SNES and stuff, right? Also. Many of these games are even better, like, sure, I can play this in DOSBox and stuff, but you can also play this with your child. Now my 4-year-old child here plays already SimCity. I mean, most of the city I built, but he can already build, like, and why not? People enjoy, like, why should it not work? Like, why do we need to break stuff? When we can have working on this, by the way, T2 Linux Gaming is like Doom, we now have Doom 3 and Vulkan and stuff. I use a distro, everything works after I fixed it with just T2 Linux. Yeah, comment there. The whole point is if it breaks, let me to read it. So the point is they delete functional stuff, right? Like what they delete now is working. What the Itanium they deleted was working. The Mesa they touched here was working. I mean, the only constant change in regressions, right? You can, by the way, get this merged down there for proper. I threw in the talk of things shit that makes me happy at my own pace, which just works. Leave it links. The point is, if it works, leave it be. Linux is supposed to be safe haven for non-commercial. Yeah, it's not anymore, right? It's not a safe haven. Like now, it's like it's some old crap. It gets deleted, and this somehow doesn't make sense. It's maybe with my system server machine, everything just works. Yeah, in 10 years it will be deleted. Cosmic out yet. I'm not the most impressed with Cosmic though. Any Cosmic fans here? Like to me, it's like reinventing the stuff the 10th times. I'm happy they're going away from home. Doom is still everyone there's. Do you like Doom Emacs? Me or what? I don't like things in Emacs. I like Doom native things or original things or DOS things or DOSBox things. My thoughts on Rust, not good. Rust, not good language, not good ecosystem. As first I thought Rust was cool, C++ replacement. More I learn about it, the verse, yeah. Initially I thought Rust good, but cargo, not good ecosystem, the usual cloud package things. And now like it gets verse in verse. Like it's already orders of magnitude. Like they set off to make C++ good and they made it worse. I'm sorry. Linux included Rust, which was not for me. I was Rust, no, cool. Still rather work in progress. Thick is amazing, but not stable enough for large projects. Is in Rust projects. Okay, for influence the developer language itself to imposition on the. Isn't the Rust project considering the Linux use case to influence? I'm not sure if that is how it works. I think it's mostly. I don't really think it's big upstream Rust project. It's mostly the Asai Linux or other people wanting to support some stuff. Anyway, that's the frustration of today. Basically, I need to be more selfish. I can't save the world. The world is self-destructing anyway. Right-wing people and war, things everywhere, climate crisis, and with keeping this stuff here around, I solve nothing. It only makes me more depressed, so I probably now go find an off-grid cabin place where I not get swatted, open the beach bar I dreamt of, or shall like and subscribe for the next IT things and product reviews to come. I'm out. Patches welcome, like basically from now on, patch your own shit. If you break it, then you got to fix it. Of course, I still maintain T2 because otherwise I would have not another Linux to run or an OS. Then I could only open a beach bar, coffee thing or a record. Basically, 2024, everything more fulfilling than being an open source developer. You don't get paid, you don't get support, you don't get anything. You get negative emails and spotted, and at the end of the day, everyone deletes your stuff. Hope you enjoyed and learned something. Don't forget to like, subscribe, maybe try T2 Linux. It's amazing when it works, and it's not big Indian. That's it. I'm out. Have a good day and night. Maybe leave some super things in chat and patronage things, or even did I post this buy me coffee thing? I probably should have. It's probably linked below the video, and otherwise you will find it with Google, right? Yeah. As per usual, at the end of the day, it turns out money makes happy after all, because if you work for free and only work with shit, then at the end of the day, you get depressions. Can't recommend. See you next time, and have fun, and go do some nice things. Don't delete other people's code. Don't introduce new regressions, and enjoy your systems while they still work. Actually, we could. Actually, you know what? Oh, amazing music, right? You love the music. What is this one? Hey, working audio. Audio still works.
In the depths of the net, where the dark things hide, a cipher's whisper cuts the tide. A phantom walks with keys in hand, on the razor's edge, across the digital sand. No tux or martini, just a terminal's glow. The secrets of nations are the code they know. Through firewalls and shadows where dangers align, They're the last line of defense on T2's design. They're the guardian of the grid, the one unseen, a warrior of the bite, swift and keen. With T2 Linux, the power they wield against the chaos, they're the unbroken shield. From the shadows they strike, a specter of light, InfoSec's agent, defender of the night. Encrypted whispers, the enemy's schemes. They decode the nightmares, protect the dreams. A silent hero, no fame, no face. In the code's dark alleys, they found their place. No gadgets or glamour, just skill in their hands. A fortress of logic, built on shifting sands. Through exploits and 0 days, their war is fought. The future's their mission, the world they've caught. They're the guardian of the grid, the one unseen, a warrior of the bite, swift and keen. With T2 Linux, the power they wield against the chaos, they're the unbroken shield. From the shadows they strike, a specter of light, InfoSec's agent, defender of the night. Every keystroke's a promise, every hack is a fight. Every system they save brings wrong to right. In a world of deception, they hold the key. The truth is their weapon, and their aim is free. They're the guardian of the grid, the one unseen, a warrior of the bite, swift and keen. With T2 Linux, the power they wield against the chaos, they're the unbroken shield. From the shadows they strike, a specter of light, InfoSec's agent, defender of the night. The code is their compass, the world their domain. Silent and nameless, yet they remain. A hero of cyberspace, in shadows they roam. For the digital world is the place they call home.